Hi guys, what's up? How are you? It's Michele Volato, and today there is a nice video between Prosecco versus Champagne. So we will check these two very famous sparkling wine. We will try to understand the main differences between them in terms of grape notes, flavory notes, and prices, and also how they make the bubbles basically in these two nice sparkling wine. So let's start. So I'm Michele Volato. I'm an Italian sommelier based in London. I started my career in Italy studying in the prestigious Italian sommelier school, and then I moved to London and I studied here in two prestigious international sommelier schools. So I'm here to help you to sail through the wine and spirit world easily. So if this is the channel you are looking for, please subscribe to the channel, give the thumb up and click the notification bell. Thank you. So let's start with the Prosecco. Prosecco comes from the northeast part of Italy, specifically from Veneto. The best area, as I have here in this bottle, is the Valdobbiadene Prosecco Superiore DOCG. Try always to look for this kind of DOCG, denomination Origine Controllata and Garantita, that give you basically, it gives more quality, there are more control, more checks in top of the chain basically of the production. So Prosecco is made from glera mainly, 85% at least. They can use also a little bit of Pinot Blanc and Chardonnay, but usually it's glera 100%. It is very fruity driven. Prosecco is very fruity driven, and soon we will understand why also, the grape of course. So we will have a lot of pear, apple, quince, white flowers mainly, very fresh, very delicate, and in the palate is not extremely sharp. It is quite rounded. That's why it came in the past 10-15 years out very successfully. Why? Because as we see here in the bottle, normally, even if now the taste is a little bit changed, is an extra dry. Extra dry means that there is a minimum residual sugar that is between, I would say, 12 to 17 milligram per liter, but they are now more oriented on the lower side. Brut, for instance, is growing a lot, and also they are doing some zero dosage, so completely natural version without any sugar added. However, so Prosecco that we're gonna try now is made with the Charmat method. Charmat method means that basically, so we have a still wine basically, of course, and we need to get the second fermentation to get the bubbles. So how do we do this? So in Prosecco they use this tank where they put the still white wine in there, and then they add the yeast. In this way the yeast now start to eat the sugar of the wine, and under pressure it start to make CO2. This process, I explain it very simply, this process lasts between 1 month to 3 months. That's why we are able to get mainly the fruit side of the grape. We don't get the taste of the yeast, because the yeast is removed after. So that is one of the main difference that we will compare in the end. So, but let's try it now. Okay, so Prosecco is quite greenish in the color. This gives me already an indication that is quite young. It is not aged, okay? But however, let's go in the nose. A lot of pear, apple, absolutely. Immediately I feel it a lot. A bit of also maybe apricot, unripe, a bit of peach, white flowers in general. So very, very fruity driven with a bit of flowery notes. That is, okay, we don't have the other layers. Maybe we will have in the champagne. So let's go in the palate. Very fresh, but not sharp, as I said. It's quite rounded. That's why this sugar level makes it so well acclaimed, basically. And it is also very useful for cocktails in general. So that is Prosecco, basically. So a very nice, easygoing, light, especially for aperitif or light dishes, or maybe also fried things. Maybe you have a fried fish, it's perfect Prosecco because it literally cleans your palate easily. So, but that is nothing more, okay? So this basically method that we were saying, the Charmat method, that is quite quick to get the second fermentation and to get the bubbles, makes the Prosecco cheaper compared to other sparkling wines with the Champenoise method. We will understand now shortly all the reasons. So in this channel we are we are discussing about wine and spirits, basically understanding more in detail the main features, try to avoid the misconception or clarify some misconception. So if this is a channel that you are looking for and you want to learn more about wine, but anyway in an easy way, easy to understand, so this is the channel for you. So subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell so you won't miss any new video, and give the thumb up. So this will help me with the YouTube algorithms, and also it will help me in making more videos in the future. So thank you. So champagne, it is also often thought that it comes from whole France, but however comes from a specific area not too far from Paris, where they produce this Champenoise method or classic method sparkling wine. The grape used here are mainly 99% of the times Pinot Noir, Chardonnay, and Pinot Meunier. That is a Pinot that basically is grown only in there mainly, and the soil is different compared to the Prosecco. A lot of calcareous soil that give this minerality and acidity, but we will see it shortly when we will try the wine. So the grape are different, the soil is different, geographically is different. We are more in north, so cooler climate compared also to Prosecco, and the method where they make the bubbles is different, and these make a big difference in the final taste and also price. Okay, so with me I have a Laurent Perrier, so a classic brand, a classic cuvée brut, so a bit drier than the Prosecco we've tried before, and but let's try it now, no? So the wine, and checking the site, is a little bit less green. We are more on the pale yellow side. Is giving already an indication. And let's go in the nose. So completely different aromas. So we do have more yellow fruit, more tropical fruit. We do have a bit of yeasty notes like butter, croissant, in general, yeast as well. So much more less fruity driven than the Prosecco, but much more complexity, I would say. So a bit more elegant on the nose. I mean, I wouldn't say much more elegant. They are two different wines, so we cannot really compare it, if I have to say also. So, but let's go in the palate now. Okay, there is less fruit, of course, much more minerality, much more acidity compared to the felt, because there is less sugar generally, but the minerality gives this crispiness in the palate that is the main feature of the champagne. Also, that's why also Franciacorta is different from Champagne because of this calcareous soil also a lot. So the bubbles also are a little bit thinner, but let's go to the process, how they make the champagne basically. So we said that the Prosecco is made in big tank. Instead, champagne, the second fermentation happens inside the bottle. And how this happens? So basically they put the still wine, the cuvée down, and then they add the yeast inside the bottle, and then they close the bottle, and the yeast eats the sugar inside the bottle left in the wine. So in this way, the process is it comes in a much smaller environment. So we are inside the bottle instead of a tank, and it takes much longer for the yeast to eat all the sugar. The yeast, when has eaten the sugar, dies, and when it dies, basically fall at the bottom, and it basically goes in autolysis. So it basically dissolves itself inside this liquid and leaves these aromas of yeastiness basically. So we have more layers of complexity in the champagne, but this process usually in champagne take at least 15 months, but usually it's a bit longer. That's why we have a higher cost. Okay, we have more complexity, more layers of complexity, different aromas, but it makes but it takes much more time to make it. So the Prosecco is basically ready in 6 months. Instead, for the champagne we have to wait 2 years usually from when we started the process. Okay, so that's to give you an idea. Aging requirements, as I said, is minimum 15 months for the champagne, but the maison usually go much longer. There are many different levels of aging requirement. I'm not going now through, but they can stay there between 7, also 8 years, 10 years, and you can really go with the champagne basically with the all seafood, the light dishes. It depends also which kind of grape mainly there is. Sometimes it's a little bit bolder if there is Pinot Noir mainly, and so it can go as well with some pasta or some light meat. So you can use it for the whole meal. Prosecco instead usually is more likely as aperitif or light dishes. So that is the main difference. And then there is the price. Therefore all this longer process to make it increase the price considerably, I would say. So you can get a nice Prosecco around $10. I would say between $10 to $15 maximum. Champagne, to drink decently, you need to go at least around $30. I would say $30-40, but usually higher. So that is basically for the champagne. So I hope you understood the difference. Okay, so let's do now a recap. So which are the main differences between these two famous sparkling wines? So Prosecco is mainly fruity driven, so we have a lot of pear, apple, quince, flowery notes. Champagne instead is more complex. We do have a bit of tropical notes, we do have a bit of toastiness, a bit of yeasty notes and minerality. So the geographic areas are different. Prosecco comes only from the northeast part of Italy. Champagne comes only from this region in France, not too far from Paris. The latitude is different. Champagne is in a much more cooler climate compared to the Prosecco one. The grapes are different, so Prosecco is made mainly by Glera, and instead Champagne mainly by Pinot Noir, Pinot Meunier and Chardonnay. The aging requirement is different. The procediment to make the bubbles is much different. So in Prosecco we have the so-called Charmat method that is much faster, therefore we have a lower price. In the Champagne instead we have the classic method, the Champenoise method, that is much longer. So that's why we have a higher price as well, and also all the difference I explained so far. So I hope it helped you to avoid a misconception that always often there are either in Prosecco and in Champagne. So Prosecco doesn't come from all Italy, and Champagne doesn't come from all France, okay? But they have specific wine regions where it comes from. Prosecco is more useful and good as aperitif or light dishes. Champagne instead has a wider range of pairings. And also, by the way, if you are looking for some ideas for weddings, if you are in the topic, I have to mention. So here there is a link for you where you can understand better how to choose a wine for a wedding. I'm sure it will be useful for you. So click, and also in the description below you will find links to other videos that can help you to have a wider understanding to the wine world and spirit world. So please check in the description below. I'm very curious to know what you think about which are what do you prefer? Do you prefer the Prosecco? Do you prefer the Champagne? Or maybe the Cava? The Cava also will be one of the next videos that we will go through Cava versus Champagne. So I hope we will watch that as well. And so I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you found useful information. I want to thank you for your time. If you like, please subscribe to the channel, giving the thumb up as well, and click the notification bell. And I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.